So I'm going to take a measurement from the end of this fascia board down to the ground. I headed off to my local dollar store and picked up terracotta pots, and my husband picked up chain for me at the hardware store. The design I opted for was a pot and then 4 wood beads hanging below. To prepare the wires for the beads, use a pair of needle nose pliers and create a little circle. The chain is going to loop through the circle, so don't make it too tight. How you are going to determine the spacing is you're going to take the distance of where you want the rain chain to start all the way to the ground. You will have to determine how far into the pot you want them to connect and add that extra distance to come up with the amount of chain you will need. It's time for assembly. Take one piece of wire and put the smallest bead on first, not the largest like I started to do. Then add the other beads. Next, put the wire through the bottom of the pot and bend it over slightly. Add a piece of chain and secure the wire so the chain won't slip off. Repeat until you have all the pots in place. Now it's time to hang your rain chains. They look so cute and add so much charm to my greenhouse. Look at that, they are working perfectly, and listen to how nice they sound.
For this project, I headed to my local Walmart to grab a small waste container that came with a lid. We will want a lid with a nice concave curve, which will be best for collecting the rainwater. By turning the lid upside down, we need to use a scrap piece of wood placed under the area we will be drilling the holes into the lid. You will want to use a minimum size of 1 inch for the drill bit so that the water will quickly enter the can. Carefully drill into the lid in at least 2 spots, as close to the lowest part, so there will not be any standing water. Once you have drilled through the lid, turn the lid over and use a small knife to cut it away any burrs or plastic. This will keep any debris from getting caught to clog up the holes. Next, we will need to use a small piece of mesh as a small filter for any leaves that might get into the lid. I'm using a metal piece of 1/4 inch mesh that will glue down to the lid. Lay a bead of glue across one side of the area where you drilled the holes. I am using a disposable paint stick to help lay out the screen so I don't get burned by the glue before it cools. Using the stick, I press the mesh all across the lid to get a good adhesion. Next, I will lay out some zigzagging glue along the sides and the back and press the mesh down. This will give it a nice adhesion to the lid. We aren't worried too much about how it looks, since this will be on the bottom of the lid once it is placed on the can. Once it is flipped back over, you can see the nice clean look of the lid and how the mesh will make an excellent filter. Now it is time to pick out a faucet for us to retrieve the water. Look for a spigot that allows the water to flow out with ease. You will also need to choose a drill bit that is just about the same size as a threaded connection on the back. When selecting the area on the bucket to drill, never drill right at the bottom, but mark a spot just an inch or 2 higher. This allows any small dirt or debris not to clog the spigot when using it for the water later. Drill into the marked area on your bucket, careful not to press too hard. The drill bit will eventually pop through the plastic. Next, use some plumber's tape to wrap around the threads of the spigot. Typically, you wouldn't wrap as much as this on a normal plumbing job, but you will want to give it a good 6 to 8 wraps for this project. Once the tape is on the threads, place it on the hole of the bucket and with a gentle push, start turning it clockwise. Eventually, the threads will grip the sides of the bucket and start to get tight. Keep twisting until the spigot is tight against the walls of the bucket. Do not over tighten. Make sure you stop as soon as it is snug. You can apply some clear silicone on the inside of the bucket to aid in the waterproofing if you desire. The next step was to place the bucket and the lid on a stand that I put outside next to a downspout on my house. I cut the downspout so that any rain that falls on my roof will gather in the gutters and flow into the rain barrel. I then zip tied the lid down so that it doesn't blow off with the wind. I finished just in time for a rare spring storm that moved into the area that afternoon. As the rain started to fall, the lid gathered the first drops that fell. As the rain picked up, the gutters did their job and the water started to flow nicely. With even 1/10 of an inch of rain, an 800 square foot roof section will gather enough rain to fill a 50-gallon bucket. This small passing storm gave me at least 40 gallons of fresh rainwater. I can then fill my watering can and use it to water the plants around the exterior of the house. It might not seem like a lot, but it is a great way to practice water conservation in many parts of the world.
You won't believe what I do with this rhubarb. First, I made a small pile of dirt and placed a garbage bag on top of it. I grabbed a fresh rhubarb leaf and placed it with the vein sides up on top of the garbage bag. Next, I mixed a bag of ready-mix concrete as per the directions on the box. You want it to be a peanut butter-like consistency, and then you know it's ready to use. I brushed canola oil onto the rhubarb leaf and then placed concrete on top. I used a trowel to move the concrete mixture all over the leaf so the concrete was about 1 inch thick. Then I cut up some wire mesh and I placed it on top. This adds strength to the concrete once it's dry. I added about another 3/4 of an inch of concrete on top. I used a piece of scrap wood to tamper it down and it smoothed it all out with a trowel. This is also a great time to add initials if you wish. And then I lifted the edge of the garbage bag and moved the dirt all around the edges to create a form. I let them dry for 12 hours and then flipped it over and let it dry in the sun with the rhubarb leaf up. I've tried many different ways to remove the leaves, but I have found the best is just letting the sun dry it out on its own. I carefully place them below my gutter so that the rainwater will now flow down the rhubarb leaves. Isn't this the most beautiful downspout you've ever seen?
We are going to start this craft off with decorative metal shower rings, paper clips, wooden beads, and pliers. Connect all of the shower rings. I have about 10 for this craft, but you can use more if you want a longer rain chain. Take a paper clip and center it on a ring. This will be for the longest piece that will be at the bottom. Bend the end of the paper clip out. Choose some beads, whatever you think will look best. I don't really like this bead, so I'm going to go with 1 small and 1 large red. Place the beads and grab your pliers. Start at the end of the clip and twist the metal to create a swirl. Take the large piece off and grab another paper clip. Center the paper clip and bend out the end. Cut the clip slightly. Take the inner portion of the clip and bend it down and inwards. Make sure the clip stays. If it looks like it will slip out, use the pliers to press the clip into place. Place 1 small bead and 1 large bead. Twist the end into a swirl, starting out at the end and moving inwards. Repeat this for every ring, minus the bottom one. Place the long clip that you made before and center it on the last ring. Get all of the shower rings lined up into the right position. This will make it a lot easier when you bring this rain chain outside. Hang up your rain chain. When it rains, your chain will look a little something like this.